Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with the turned-on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. Here we go.
Won't train me to comp employee meals, then fire me over a short bank? Here's your Department of Labor Inquisition. I started at a roadhouse bar with the city's name as the first title word. Everybody knew this bar. Coming from 10 years of bartending and serving experience, the hiring manager was as nice as could be. I get a spot and quickly prove my worth. I'm the opener, trusted with keys and deposits within 3 months. Their turnover rate was crazy high, and I was soon to find out why. It was a Sunday, and 85% of the bar staff drink heavily. They were all tanked the night before, so I'm the only opener as usual. 2 employees come in with families for lunch, and I do my best to earn a tip. Their bills are ready, and both tell me to comp it, which is okay, because we officially get 1 comped meal each week, family included. Both bills come out to about $60 to $70. They both tip me well. End of the night, I can't find a manager to comp out my tickets. No big deal, says closing bartender. We'll just do your tickets, and you can get the cash the next day. Stupid, stupid me. I agree. Looks like a bar donation. Look, I'll get to it. It wasn't a joke. He refused to pay me for almost 3 months. I hit my final straw when I had a walkout table for over $100. Boss said it was coming out of my comp. I lost my crap. Called the police, cops come, basically tell me the whole situation is a civil matter and to call the Department of Labor. Okay, sounds good. Terry, the a-hole owner, dodges the DOL for about a month, not answering emails, is on out of business each time they make a stop. I know what he's doing, so I decide to go in as a patron late one night. Sure enough, he's drunk as F and talking crap to another coworker, so I called the one contact at the DOL who said to call any time, night or day, if I saw him. Police come and he's arrested. He makes bail the next morning and is out on bond. Asked me to meet up. I agree, with my lawyer driving me and recording our meeting. He tried to threaten me, and when that didn't work, he tried to cry. But I told him to pay me or F off. He then said, Sarah said the same thing. Who's Sarah? Sarah's the woman who was already in the same place that I was and had him over a barrel for the same stuff. She had a big walkout, over $200, and he kept her paycheck, so she took him to court as well. He still refused to pay me that day, so I gleefully told him that I'd see him in court alongside Sarah. My check came in 3 working days, and it included both comps, the walkout, and full minimum wage for training days, which I didn't expect. Sarah went ahead and took him to court and wiped the floor with him. I got a nice payday of almost $600, and they're now shut down as of last January. And our second story. Revenge on the boss from hell. So after leaving my job with my horrible boss of almost a year, I found a job in the other grocery store across town. This new store that I worked at was a discount grocery store, which basically means that we would get overstock from the other stores. Stuff that didn't sell, outdated items. Not insanely outdated, we still had some standards on the food we could sell. Anyways, we would still order regular stuff from the vendors, and since we would usually buy some of their overstock and outdated stuff as well, we would get a little bit of a better deal on whatever else we bought. Getting a better deal meant that we could pass on some of the savings to the customer. My old boss would occasionally send some of the managers from the other store in to scope out our prices so that they could see if they could beat it and sell more than we could. Normally, my new boss, Ralph, wouldn't mind. He'd just let it go. Eventually, though, he started to get a little upset about it and told me to ask them to kindly leave. I'd been hoping for this ever since they started coming in and scoping prices. So I went out to 2 of our assistant managers, Paul and Larry, and kindly asked them to leave. Before I move on, here's a little background on the 2 grocery stores I worked at. The first one, aka the one with the horrible boss, was a chain store. Therefore, anybody below a manager really had no power whatsoever. The new one, aka the one with the better boss, was only 3 stores, and the owners of the store really wouldn't take much crap from others. So we had quite a bit more power than I used to have. Anyway, they informed me that I'm not allowed to tell them to leave since I'm not a manager and that anybody can shop in there. I laugh and tell them that my manager had told me to ask them to leave and that if they didn't, I would call the police to have them escorted out of the building. They leave without more incident. I'm happy since these 2, along with Mike, made my life hell for the past year. I go about my job, warehouse attendant, and start running the forklift and trying to rearrange the warehouse. I get called up front to go carry out some groceries for an older lady, and as I walk back in, who else would show up? It's lovely old Mike. He asked me why I kicked out his 2 managers, and I informed him that if they wanted to come and actually shop, they were at perfect liberty to do that. But if they were just going to scope out prices so they could beat it, then they were not allowed back in the store. And if he was going to cause trouble, he can't enter the store either. So I turn my back to him, walk back in, and tell our checkers to call me if Mike comes in and starts trouble. I go to the back. Not even 60 seconds later, I get a call from the checkers telling me that he's scoping out prices as well, and that my boss Ralph was gone and they wanted me to take care of it. I walk out from the back, see Mike writing down some prices from something, and approach him. Me. Mike, if you're going to be scoping out prices, you can leave now. Mike, you're not a manager. I don't have to listen to you. You can't kick me out anyways. Me. My boss gave me permission to kick out anybody from the old store if they're just going to come in and scope out prices. I can tell that's what you're doing, so you need to leave. Mike, I'd like to see you make me. Me. I'll give you about 10 seconds to start walking towards the door. If you don't, I'll call police to escort you out. 10 or 15 seconds go by where we just glare at each other with as much contempt as we can manage. I pull out my phone, call the non-emergency line for our local police department. PD. This is City Name Police Department, non-emergency line. How can we help you? Hi, this is Braves Fan 417. I'm over at New Store Name, and I have a customer here who's causing troubles, and we've asked to leave, but he won't. Can I get somebody over here to help, please? Braves Fan 417? I hadn't seen you over at Old Store Name in a while. I was wondering where you were. Anyway, it's a small town. Who is it? Maybe we can just talk to them on the phone and get them to leave. Me. It's Mike from Old Store Name. He's scoping out our prices, and my boss has given me permission to kick anybody out from the store that's just over here scoping out prices. And that's all he's doing, so we would like him removed. PD. Yeah, normally for something like this, I would just ask the person to leave from the phone. But Mike was being a jerk to my wife the other day. I'm on my way. So 5 to 10 minutes pass by where I help a few customers out while Mike scopes out more prices. Police show up, cashiers tell him where I'm at, and we walk over to Mike. PD. Mike, you've been asked to leave. You need to leave. Technically, you're trespassing. Mike, this is a free country. I can go where I please. PD. Unfortunately, you've been told that you're not allowed on these premises. Therefore, you can't go where you like. Leave or I'll escort you out in handcuffs. Mike. Do you think you intimidate me, Officer Jones? To clarify, Mike is probably 6'3" or 6'6", 250 to 275 pounds. That's like 190.5 to 198.1 centimeters and 113.5 to 124.9 kilograms, while our officer is roughly 5'10 and 175, 177.8 centimeters and 68.1 kilograms. PD. Mike, I'm going to ask you one more time, then if you don't leave and try to intimidate me more, I'm going to tase your butt, you'll pee your pants, and I'll drag you out. I've had enough of your crap. Let's go. Mike looks at the taser on the cop's belt, gives both of us the dirtiest look he can come up with, and leaves. We both crack up laughing, and the cop ends up giving me his direct number. Neither of us like Mike, and he wants to be the one to deal with him if anything should arise again.
And our last story.
Damage my home? I'll take yours. My mother-in-law is a pretty well-off woman. She owns a large number of rental properties, and her husband have a huge house located just outside New York City. It's got an indoor pool, sauna, elevators, etc., and is worth well into the 7 figures, being only 5 minutes from downtown Manhattan. Sadly, her husband passed away, and she remarried and moved out of state. She put the house up for rent shortly after. A broker approached her with 2 prospective tenants. The tenants were music producers and had some legit acts they worked with. One of them was the business guy, and the other was the talent. The talent I'll call Ben. The 2 were partners in the beginning, and the business guy made sure the rent was paid on time. He was legit and didn't screw around. They used the house as a place for artists to chill out and work on their music. After a couple of years, Biz Guy and Ben had some sort of falling out, and the Biz Guy left, and Ben stuck around. At first, he continued to pay the rent on time, but after a few months, it kept getting later and later. By itself, not the worst thing. Owning real estate, it comes with the territory. But he started getting aggressive and racist as the mother-in-law kept insisting that she needed to be paid. Mother-in-law's not a mean person and values politeness and manners above all else. Finally, mother-in-law had enough and had him evicted. After the eviction, they went through the house and assessed over $100,000 in damage. Cigarette burns in the carpet, stains on the walls, pool filters and plumbing damage, etc. She took him to court, won, and had a lien placed against all his property. Ben was dead broke at this point, aside from his home, and she just didn't see the point in trying to get blood from a stone, so she moved on. Fast forward about 15 years. Mother-in-law receives a notice in the mail that the bank is foreclosing on Ben's home. Because she had a lien placed on all his assets, the bank was asking a judge to dismiss her lien so they could collect what they were owed from the sale of the home. Mother-in-law was obviously going to contest this, but then she got clever. She approached the bank and basically said, "Look, sell me the house at fair market value, less what I'm owed, and you'll save on foreclosure costs, brokers, lawyers, etc. I have cash on hand, and it's a win-win for everyone." Bank agreed, and she purchased the house for almost 25% below market value. Mind you, that 25% was money she was owed anyway, but still, she didn't think she'd ever see it again. Of course, given all of Ben's a-hole behavior, she wasn't going to just take the house without him knowing who was taking it, so she found out the day they were moving out and stopped by. Ben had a bit of difficulty placing her. It'd been over a decade since they last spoke, but once he realized who she was, he basically cussed her out. She never said a word, just smiled. She's since rented out his home to a lovely family with no issues. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video to the end, and I'll see you in the next one.